Hello guys, welcome back to another video. Today we're going to be doing a Q&A. So without further ado, I'm super nervous for some of these questions that I have had already in my TikTok, Instagram, and some on my Snapchat. So let's dive right in. I decided to do this video here at my dad's shop. If y'all don't remember, this is where I first started. I'm in the same room where I decorated and put LED lights on the wall, hexagon lights on the wall, and it just brings me back so many memories. So what better place than to do my first Q&A here where I first started. First question: how did I get my first customers? When I first started here with my dad, I did not know I was going to end up doing this as a job. I started as helping out my dad. At the time, I was working, and then when I stopped working, I spent more time with my dad, so made me catch on to a lot of things more quicker and faster. I started doing it on my own, and I'm like, heck yeah, like I got this. So I started posting it on TikTok. That's where I kind of like just blew up from there. I started recording something about me. I always like to edit videos, so that's something that really helped me put the videos together, edit, etc., post them, and then I didn't think I would blow up like or go viral in some of my videos. So that was just like wow, like thank you God. But honestly, I never thought none of my videos would blow up. From there, that's when people started to DM me doing people's headliners, and I'm like, oh, okay, heck yeah, like I like this. So at the time, I was just thinking of it like as a hobby, but then the more I was getting booked, I'm like, okay, I can see myself doing this as a job. So yeah, my very first customers came from TikTok. So guys, thank you so much if you've been with me since I started from TikTok. I appreciate you. I still remember my first customer, Agustin. I did his bench seat on his C10. It's been awesome. It's been very rewarding. So from there, then opened my Instagram, and then we just went on from there. Next question: how was it like doing my first ever headliner? So if I can remember, when I first did my first headliner, it was actually for a client, and my dad would not keep his eyes off of me. He was just like on lion mode. Like he was just making sure I wasn't messing up. And I'm not gonna lie, that literally triggered me so much. I got so nervous and panicked because I was like, oh shoot, I should have. I think at the time we didn't really have headliners on in stock where I could like practice. So I literally had to learn on like client headliners without having any practice. So I was like, oh, trágame tierra, what if I mess up? My dad se desesperaba mucho conmigo. Like he's not the type to like be like, okay, le haces así, después le haces así, después aquí y acá. No, he was like, no, pero no le muevas así. Y espérate, espérate. Like he wanted to like let me do it, but then he wanted to put his hands in it too. So I wasn't really catching on. The way I was catching on was by looking and visualizing. So yeah, my dad was a little desesperado, but yeah, my first headliner, I recorded it, and I was recording with the phone, and I was so nervous. You can literally like see myself like try to be confident y todo. But like I had like 10 eyes behind the camera making sure I was doing it right. If I find the video, I'll post it here. It went viral on TikTok, so that was my first headliner. Second question, third question. Third, I'm gonna just say next question because I'm gonna lose count. Is this the business I always wanted to do? If you would ask me like 2, 3 years ago before I started this, I would have never imagined in my life doing headliners. Nunca me salió por la mente hacer headliners. So no, I can't tell you, oh, since I was little, like this is what I wanted to do, this is my dream, da 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 da. No, never. So yeah, my life path kind of just shifted during that time, and well, here we are. Next question: when did you know this is what you wanted to do? So kind of ties into all the other questions, but I knew this is what I wanted to do because at the end of the day, I wanted to make my parents proud of me, and I also wanted to carry on a legacy. Since I was little, me and my brother, we always grew up around shops. We were either always at the shops, auto sale shops, mechanic shops, upholstery shops. We were always around those types of environments because that's what my dad would always do. He was always being a mechanic or doing upholstery work or doing electrical programming. We were just used to it. So it was always a part of my life. So I knew I wouldn't have minded to keep it going. And I just knew it's what I wanted to do because I wanted to make my dad proud. So I know carrying on something they've built would have meant so much to them. So I'm very privileged to have the opportunity to do that for them. Next question. How long did it take me to finally do a good headliner by myself with no help? And I can say yo la agarré de volada. Why? Because I first was always observing. So I would always be looking. I was always watching. I was always seeing what techniques people use. Blah 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 blah. But one thing about me though, I never ever went onto social media and searched up how to do a headliner, how to do this, how to do that. Never. What I did is I always based my knowledge on my dad. So everything I know, everything I saw, I caught it on very quickly, and that's how I just started learning. I think once you go on social media, there's a lot of knowledge out there, but once you just see so many stuff, you get like overstimulated, and that I knew that was not going to want that to be the case for me. I didn't want to be overwhelmed. So I just had to work with what I had and just visualize it and me catch on very quickly. Have I ever accidentally finished a project and it was the wrong color? In my defense, I was still learning, but I did. It was a slight mistake. It was just like a shade off. If you know headliners, you know Shell is the original OEM factory color, and then there's a gray. So it was supposed to be a gray, but I did it in a shell. So that was the only mistake that happened, but the client wasn't upset about it or anything. But still, to this day, from that experience, I'm like, I need to make sure the color is right. Like, even after I'm almost done with the project and I need to wrap it, I'll ask the client again, hey, like, it's black, right? Just to double make sure, because sometimes there's just so many things going on and you forget, especially since black is the most used in the headliner industry right now. If someone wants it gray, I'm like, hold on, I freak out because I'm like, I'm used to doing everything in black. Next question. ¿A qué me dedicaría if I was not doing headliners? What would I do if I wasn't doing headliners? Um, so before I started doing headliners, I did a lot of creative work. I was always in this entrepreneurship all my life. That's something I can tell you. I was doing cakes at some point. I was doing marketing at some point. I was also doing nails at some point. So I was always in this creative entrepreneurship, but I never just nothing would really satisfy me of what I really wanted to do until I tried headliners. One thing I am gonna say though is before I even jumped into doing headliner work for like the rest of the time, I applied to the refineries. I applied to the plants. I got accepted, and I was doing my training. I was doing all my paperwork. I was doing all the tests. I passed all of them. So if I was not doing headliner work, I think I would be in the refineries right now. I got my TWIC card. I got everything. So I had so many opportunities there, and I actually got hired onto a good company. But just something in me just was like, no, like, this is your route. So I listened to it. I asked God to just guide me, and so here I am doing headliner work instead of being in the refineries. So, but yes, I feel like if I wasn't doing headliner work, I would be in the refineries. Next question, and I think this is a very good one, is what are the biggest challenges in family businesses? If you know, you know. I started with my dad. I named it Navarro Headliners because that is our last name. And like I said, I wanted to keep on a legacy that my parents already had built. I was like, what better way than to have it as our last names? So I named it Navarro Headliners. There are a very pros and cons, being very honest. In working with family, there can be a lot of, different opinions, just different mentalities and certain things of how things get done or how things get managed. But overall, I feel like the pros outweigh the cons. I get to spend time with my family. I get to spend time with my dad. I don't have anyone rushing me, telling me, oh, you have to be back at a certain time. I can freely enjoy a lunch or a breakfast with my dad. So I get to spend time with them without feeling any guilt. So if you have an ongoing business with a family member or anything, just see it as a positive that you get to see them every day. Next question, what motivates me to keep going is and will always be my parents. Like I said, I just want to make sure I'm making them proud. I want to make sure they're taken well care of. And that is basically my motive every day, is to make my parents proud, to make sure que no les hace falta nada. Other than, having a successful business and giving back to my community is a lot of what also motivates me. um, I'm a very giving person, so once in a while I host some pop ups at my shop, and I just love to give, whether in giveaways, raffles, or any sort of events. So that is definitely what keeps me going. Last question: would you recommend quitting your job to start your own business? This is a very touchy subject for me because in the time when I decided to start doing headliner work, I had zero in my bank account. I had nothing. I was starting from scratch. I was starting from zero. And it was a lesson that taught me so much that if I really, really want it, I'm going to go and get it. If you're thinking about quitting your job and going all in, be prepared for the challenges. Be prepared that sometimes you're not going to have work come in. You're not going to have an easy salary coming in every 1 or 2 weeks. You're going to really have to figure it out on your own and work for it on your own. Sometimes there's going to be ups, and a lot of times during the first few months, years, it's going to be very, very hard. But it is not impossible. With having the right people by your side, with having the right village, and a good support system, you will make it. It will come through for you. Be prepared for the challenges because it's not easy. So my advice would be, yes, quit your job, but do what you love to do, but also make sure you have some money saved up so you can always be prepared for anything that comes your way. Well, guys, that is it for my Q&A. Thank you guys so much for watching. These are honestly very fun. It makes me really reflect a lot. I hope that it's useful for any of y'all that are starting to make your own business and are really trying to make it out there. You can do it having the right tools, the right people, and the right mindset. So with that being said, thank you guys again so much for watching. Don't forget, God loves you, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye.